Right. Wow. Yeah. Game 2 coming up.
Welcome back, Fortnite fam, to the FNCS. Game number 1 goes the way of Booga and Braids. That's right, let's just stop questioning Booga on everything, okay? He's Mr. World Cup! Don't forget. All right, though, a lot of, man, so much action happened in that last game with so many duos we're just used to seeing, or players that are, remember, we've seen a massive swap up. It kind of feels like sometimes, Kelly, every duo look at each other like, hey, everybody move one tier left, and then that's the new duos. But in that last game, obviously, as we start to take a look at the standings, we see a lot of names here in this top 10 by themselves. And also a reminder, if we get a victory royale, we go to next week's finals. That means we're not going to be seeing Booga and Braids anymore today. Look forward to them next weekend. Or we need to end in the top 10 win consistently, which is basically the top 15. Kelly is currently first place.
At that, Kanata and Sphinx after that last game, and we saw that Kanata was a solo, but I feel like everyone at the end of that game besides Booga and Braze was a solo. We had Flix, we had Peter, and then of course Kanata, though it's those eliminations that they were able to garner on the low ground because there was just so much chaos going on. However, I will say, we saw what I would consider a more typical high ground than what we've seen in heats for days 1 and 2 Vivid.
I mean, everything was actually going so crazy for Aegis and Veno there. Obviously, we did see them kind of steal away the high ground on the back foot of Veno, kind of making a little bit of a sneaky play up there to kind of steal it away is what it pretty much felt like. We're going to take a look at it right here. Just kind of walks up and like, hey, by the way, I want high ground, thank you very much. But after this moment, I mean, if you take a look at the material count and how they were kind of doing with their loadouts, they were doing kind of fine, but you fast forward just a little bit, and they're no longer up on the high ground, so they actually opted to potentially go ahead and give that one up. But after this, I thought they would kind of look to control the high ground, but they dropped all the way down to the lower ground. Of course, they do end up having a good game, but it feels like they could have potentially given up that win condition here in game number 1.
Man, it looks, I'm shocked. I'm like reliving this
I'm
game.
shocked.
And when I just look over my notes, I've written so many things. We talked about Kanata there and Sphinx in kind of in our first place. For the moment, let's look at second place, which is Clicks and Rapid. Guys, the fact that they got third place, Clicks being solo in this game, given how chaotic that was. I mean, Kelly, I'm liking this duo right now. I can't lie. I feel like Clicks has a bit of, you know, confidence that I feel like maybe he's been missing.
Yeah, that momentum has definitely been picking up. It was a little bit lacking when they first formed Clicks and Rapid. However, as we've seen the Div Cups and as the season has progressed, there has definitely been a level of confidence and synergy that the two of them have been developing. And honestly, I think the biggest thing that we could have seen right there was Clicks coming out with a solo. Obviously, because he is the most popular Fortnite streamer in NAC, if not the world, a lot of people like to put targets on his back. So for Clicks to be able to come out in game number 1 as a solo and show up the way that he did is going to allow him to kind of prove to everyone that there's a reason that it's Clicks and Rapid, not Rapid and Clicks.
Let's go ahead and talk about that top 3 on consistency. I mean, Kanata, solo clutch from him.
Big
Flick,
goes
a
first
solo
back.
clutch from him. But a giant solo clutch from Peter Bot himself. I mean, just we like to talk about the consistency of duos, but for right now, towards the top of the leaderboard, it has been all about the solo performances. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at it quite soon. I think it was actually Clicks and Rapid that ended up taking out Pollo on the back foot of Peter Bot, and Pollo trying to make a little bit of a rotation here. So we will see Pollo go down in just a quick moment. But yeah, I mean, Peter Bot kind of reminds everybody. I won't lie. For some reason, I shouldn't say for some reason, for good reason, the focus of this duo has kind of shifted to Pollo being kind of like that star player on this team. But Peter Bot reminds us that it's both of them simultaneously. At any moment's notice, either one of them can have that pop performance, can kind of have that solo clutch to make sure they stay towards the top of the leaderboard. And that's why they're so scary as a duo.
I love it. And I mean, respect to Peter Bot, right? In that situation, he overdrives up. And I'm like, this is crazy. This is kind of crazy. Takes one shot, misses, and goes, you know what? Maybe this is the play. And then completely disengages. Like, man. You know, I just love to see Peter Bot's like mind moving and then how he reacts. Like, so crazy. Guys, I'm getting word though. Game 2 is ready. I'm ready to jump back into the action.
Game 2.
Are you?
Yes.
100% ready for
Yeah,
sure.
man,
I think
I'll be
coming
playing
into
in
game, honestly,
2
we
minutes.
knew there was a certain level of excitement to expect, but out of game 1, early, you even had King and Praise felt like they spawned in with 6 eliminations.
Yeah, and you saw them still way up at the top of the standings based off of their eliminations alone, ending with 60 points earned, over 10 elims, which is crazy. So more than half of their points basically through just eliminations alone there. Jacob, talk about a performance.
Yeah, and I've obviously seen throughout the 2 days already, these solo clutches play a huge impact to being able to not have that desperation game 5 where you need a victory royale. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled on that. And when you look at some of the damage stats from game number 1, Peterbot, Veno, King, top 3 in terms of overall damage. And then you have Booga, who already qualified with that last game and leaves a drop spot open. Who's going to take that drop, if anybody? Let's find out.
Well, with game 2 spinning up, you know, I do want to highlight the broadcast made Veno look so good in that last game. Every time we jumped in, it was like we didn't miss a beat on his action. You just saw that he was navigating that low ground so effortlessly, and it almost seemed like no one wanted to go all the way down there. They didn't know what was going on, but either way, they pushed through very well. This is a bigger problem for them, of course, to worry about, right? You see how the drops actually played out. Go straight down from their side of the map. They seem to be getting their weapons first as well, which is really interesting because that can go either which way. But in the end, Veno and AJ have enough time here, right? They're giving them too much time, I feel like, to get situated and then take the fight on their terms.
100%, and I think that's just a little bit of something they're going to have to learn as the game progresses. And they're going to have to start to act quick. A team like Veno and Agers, once they get enough points where they feel like they qualified, who knows what type of animals we'll see then. It's Peter Bot, business as usual. We saw this in that last game. They landed at their drop spot. Koyo does stay in the POI. Peter Bot does tend to try to go for that Warforged Mythic AR. This time around, I'm not sure if it actually did spawn there. We'll see if he gets his inventory later. But I talked about Golden Grove, Booga and Braids winning game number 1. They will not be in the rest of today's action because they're already in the Major 2 finals. And now you have 3 teams now landing at Golden Grove.
I should be there one day.
There were over 10 duos being contested across the map in general. It is no surprise right now that with Booga falling this early, a neat POI is going to get sniped up right away. I mean, you have a lot of action here. You even have some relatively solid players like Tsunami's Amplify and Laura's here. Very, very stand-up individuals. They were before kind of taking that outskirt. We saw them lurking on that other team fight, but I guess they're doing the math. Saying, hey, my fight for scraps. The whole POI.
That's usually what I think. If you're going to contest something, make it.
I would fight for the OPOI.
4 different teams have that same idea. Kind of turns into a slugfest. Punches being thrown around. Bubba trying to use the shockwave to get a little bit of advantage on the Amplify. He cracks the shield. He's trying to go ahead and figure out where that elimination's at. And you can see he's running out of SMG ammo. Does not have a shotgun. And 0 when it comes to those materials.
Yeah, one player doesn't have mass, the other doesn't have ammo. This is a tough spot to be in. Amplify is going to be the first to fall there, unfortunately, and they're getting hunted down. And I had high hopes for Loris. He did get a knock there, so anything can still happen. He still has a couple of shields to work with, but with no material count, Desperation kicks in. They get hunted and found out. And just like that, those two fall. Now the RGN duo has arrived here. They're looking to clean up house.
Slip and slide their way into that box. Good damage on the Cyros. Weaving in and out of these boxes to try to stay alive, draw for time. So many of these players either got eliminated, they're kind of disengaged already, so it's basically a full target on your back until you're just eliminated out of the game altogether. Realize, Afonso, they went ahead and took an opportunity, and they cashed in on it.
Yeah, well played for them. They didn't get a bulk of points, but they got a few. Meanwhile, let's look at this. Clix and Rapid. So much attention on what Rapid brings to this duo. I feel like we were discounting Clix's ability to perform in last game. He really just showed up, you know. It's not often I feel like we see Clix really come out strong in an initial game like that, but I love what we're seeing. I'm thinking that maybe that Pro-Am just kind of, you know, broke his mentality a little bit, right? It's, you know, got the weight off his shoulders. He's feeling good now. He's playing a little bit more freely, a little bit more relaxed.
I think partly that comes in with how relaxed Rapid is as an IGL. I think he understands mistakes happen in the course of a game of Fortnite. It's just about how you react and handle those mistakes. Clix still lurking around. You see the free edit coming in. That's going to be the first wall being taken. They're trying to push him back further and further. This is where they do have to be careful, because when the fight gets chaotic, sometimes mistakes too tend to happen. But that team
I think Clix is going to win.
fully disengages, going underneath, one way in, one way out, and that's where Clix and Rapid have to make the decision to disengage.
Clix is going to win.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was
Yeah, Clix up here, but
making the call to go for it. The timing was
he's
almost
going to win.
impeccable. But all good. Rapid and Clix end up disengaging, kind of get back to the drop. See how this ends up playing out for them. I'm not sure if they actually even got any real damage there, so still they're gonna have an uphill battle to work against. Meanwhile, Diego, Kaki, disengage will be their fight as well.
You can see in the mini-map what looks like a lot of attention over towards the Battle Woods, the surrounding area as well. We don't necessarily know. It's very, very early to see where the zone is beginning to pull, but typically when a lot of the early game teams start to pull in one direction, you can see where they have their minds at. King and Craze lurking around yet again, waiting for what looks like Wikipedia to try to make a mistake, refarm the tree. There goes King. Big shots being fired off. Essentially dropping down to just a sliver of HP already. Now Craze comes in to crash the party. They get their first elimination here. And this is where we're seeing the difference between them and some of the other teams in the lobby. You know, they're just go and build their surge bases. They trade for tags and they overstay their welcome in the zone. King and Craze is looking like last chapter or last duo where Peter Bot and Coil were just W King the lobby to get their surge. That's what King and Craze are looking like right now.
Yeah, playing it like a pub game, playing it like a cash cup.
Clix going to win.
Really well for them, you know. It plays in so well into their play style because, again, King was putting players down in set lobbies with even
King was my win back.
I mean, you send them on the run, all of a sudden that little advantage, right? Having the ambush at play, it's really hard to take them down essentially when you have that advantage.
Especially with how see Zusto, Malcolm trying to go ahead and take advantage on one. Almost looks like you can see what happened. A reboot really gave away their position. A lot of noise and kind of gives up the thought of, hey, one of those guys are respawning in. Possibly only 3 builds, no real weaponry to fight against them, and that's where I feel like you see them chasing towards that solo.
Yeah, I was going to say the fact that Marks wasn't building there. Zusto knows he's got a huge advantage. There it is. The Storm does the rest for him. That's just enough damage, but Malcolm, Zusto now. I feel like officially ran out of heals here for the time being, so Zusto's kind of holding the body there. He still has the siphon to come. Luckily, the duo ends up leaving the drop. Could have made that really bad for all.
Wait a minute. See if this is the last one.
Contested, uncontested. I feel like Reed and Cooper are kind of ready for whatever gets thrown their way. you know, they played a divisional cup and things didn't necessarily happen the way they wanted to at Wonkyland. And since that day, I have not seen anybody play as many off-spawn practice games as Reed and Cooper. Doesn't matter who the competition is, they just want to make sure they get as many reps as possible underneath their belt. So their team in today's lobby, I wouldn't necessarily agree with contesting, but hey, sometimes you just got to play your game out. You see him where the zone is pulling. Very, very familiar to last game, Monster.
I'm going to try and go to next year.
I mean, super fan of them. Their personalities. I think they match each other really well. So I expect, again, Reed to continue to be that sleeper person who just performs really well, right? And almost stays out of the conversation, sneaks into top 3s and 5s. Either way, though, Veno and Agers, the activity has continued to stay up. They already have 2 eliminations, mind you. So this is just icing on the cake at this point.
Yeah, game 1, Bucky was able to escape off the drop, survive a little bit longer to play that game out just a little bit. This time around, they're able to win that off-spawn fight convincingly. You can see Plur and Regular just not really backing down from this fight. And they were the ones that took most of that damage early on. And now they have the high ground over a team like Veno and Agers.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, when I saw Veno and Agers kind of taking control of the tower, I was like, all right, that makes sense. But then to see him shockwave over, I was like, oh, got a lot of heart to do that. Meanwhile, Reed and Cooper's kind of doing their thing on this side. Look at this, a fresh set of eliminations, so much loot to choose from. This is like a mega pickup. Unfortunately, it's outside the storm, so they're not gonna be able to do much.
Just kind of cap off what they're missing, go right back on over to Wonkyland. The zone is relatively closed where they can use that combination of the shockwave and the wonky wheel to cover distance quick. This is how they were able to pick up those eliminations. They went from actual POI wonky land, probably using that wheel, closing the difference towards the outskirts and just taking advantage of a team who probably got caught off guard.
Yep, that's how it goes sometimes. You can't let your guard down, especially when someone's got the ability to rotate like that. Meanwhile, Emoji here still has chugs to work with.
Come on.
Have some heals, but I'm gonna go with the med kit first for him. I like this play, trying to reserve the chugs, of course.
Especially when you've got to realize, you know, you just got off a fight, you got an elimination. Chances of being able to go back to Heatwave Harbor to visit that mending machine, probably slim to none. Probably not worth the risk either, so they're just going to keep it moving with the elimination and the loot that they just got. Waste no time trying to get to the zone, coming in from the south side of the map. And that's where it could tend to be a little bit more stacked, the south and the eastern edge, where most of the lobby will begin to come from. But this is also a team
that's going to be the mix.
Noticed in the last game, landing over towards the chop shop. There's not going to be a lot of teams that rotate around this area until later on in the game. They just have to be above the
next one is.
Yeah, with no
next week.
Hard to tell where they stand for the most part. Take a look at this. This little rotate going on here for Cooper and Reed.
Ooh. I remember seeing this. So the trick to this is, right, so if you guys want to try to do this at home, you got to like pickaxe or use the rapid fire SMG to get that out of the mini game, right? And instead of pickaxing it, the reason why you use the rapid fire SMG because it deals the least amount of damage to the flotation device. It'll literally bring you across the map like you see Reed and Cooper do in probably less than a minute. And this is something that kind of blown up on social media within the last couple of days. So Reed and Cooper really putting all the community's theories to the test.
Yeah, I saw someone talking about it and they were like, wait a second.
That's how you
realize, random team, right, that discovered like a really cool tactic, and all of a sudden now, of course, it's getting adopted into the competition here. Nice little find for them, free med kit. Meanwhile, you have Kanata and Sphinx camping out in the building nearby. It's going to be very dangerous. Not sure what their game plan is currently. Okay, it just seems like it's a pit stop on the way as they have the vending machine here.
See here, Reed Cooper probably crouched down. They know the risk any mending machine possesses. especially this late in the game where we moved from 4th zone to 5th zone, but Kanata and Sphinx on the whole other side, not really trying to lock that one down. So Reed and Cooper are going to be able to kind of hold that position to themselves, but they got to be a bit quick here in this situation. It did go from a 1-tick zone to a 2-tick zone, and most of this lobby, as you've seen, they've spent it deep within the zone, so they got to hurry up before they start to go ahead and take that storm sickness warning.
Yeah, definitely. You see there.
Yes.
Find that extra chug, they take advantage.
It's going to be.
Just trying to cap off to the best of their capabilities, but the 2-tick is just so brutal. Even when you're in the storm for this little bit of time, already it's going to cost them at least a full med kit. Now you have Kanata Sphinx having the same problems. Pocoyo has the duo right on their heels as well. Sphinx and Kanata are going to just face down here because they found themselves too close to that other team on the heal instead.
Necessarily the worst play, especially, you know, experts, you know, you fight inside of the zone like this. Sometimes you end up in a no-win situation, or even if you win the fight, making out is going to be near impossible. Just kind of
I would have put them
the action around the map and kind of see the solo
like
clutch points from
what?
game number 1, how it's really impacting the leaderboard. Most of those teams landing in and around the top 5 after those solo clutch performances. And that's going to be a boost of confidence for all of the duos, specifically Rapid. Trying to boost his confidence right now with Clicks, knowing with or without him in the game, you know, his IGL prowess, even if he's eliminated, can still play a role in Clicks solo clutching.
See how good of a job they do as well, being able to rotate and maintain that momentum. Really optimizing each and every shot move like that was perfect. Small find there too, but look at this Higson curve. Nice little elimination there. He's going to end up with some points, and this is what happens when you're the last to rotate. And now look, the warning's going to tell Kanata he's actually 195 below. This is a very tough spot to be in after such a strong first game. Luckily for him, he does have that cushion, and he may not be out yet. Okay, as I was going to tee it up, I was like, it's not looking too good. Creon's going to end up with the elimination and the refresh there. Well played for them.
Hopefully they can go ahead and kind of figure out what went wrong. Very, very similar zones from game 1 to game 2. Obviously this one around here in the 6th zone, we are moving a little bit more towards the south. Short celebration though for Higgs and Curve. They get that one elimination you were talking about, immediately become the target of the lobby, but only for a short second as they quickly start to rotate on out.
That should
they're
be
learning just like everybody else. You don't want to be one of the last teams to try to make it there. You don't want to be one of the first teams either, given an open opportunity
I don't
to try to
be.
continue to connect with shots.
Yeah, too many teams got that little
So
bit of
Corey,
massive
get
elevation
teams in now.
They're going to be targeting all the fresh builds. Peterbot Boyo already on the move right here. And the same thing like the other teams, just trying to keep themselves protected, but Boyo gets rolled up on. Peterbot's here to back him up. And a quick turn of events right there for one team. Make it for another as well. What is happening? This is like the spider's web. And they're catching everyone coming through.
And there's just another one from behind. Yet again, they're just pouring in one after the next, and Pete is just taking them out, crossing them off the list. Big shot being traded off from Tenya, though, to slow down the roll that Peterbot has on. And this is the thing I feel about this duo. We're always talking about how great Peterbot is. Obviously, since the Summit land, people pointing Boyo probably one of the best players in NA as of now. I feel like they have like small competitions with one another to see who gets more eliminations, who has better solo clutches. And when Dust right now is just getting a little chaotic, they know how to play together as a team.
Yeah, that was so aggressive right there by Peterbot and Boyo. They go for that fight, just trying to really punish the team behind them that thought they were going to be able to jump into their box. And it cost them a fair bit of their remaining heals, but in the end, it alleviates the pressure from the duo. They have enough mats to take the distance here. Look at this nice little French pickup there, trying to bait the loop, and no one goes for it fast enough. There's a nice upgrade for them.
You just hear all that noise, all that fighting going down underneath. And you just got to take it a step by step, assessing the situation. Shots come off on their layer, so they're going to backtrack in their steps. Reed and Cooper, though, all the way from Wonky Land. They're going to be the first team on the high ground. 7th zone, though, we've already seen it in game 1. That could be a little bit early to try to invest everything.
Yeah, I was going to say, pretty impressive for them to be the team right now to try to identify as the high ground duo. 2 games in a row now, position themselves up for hype. Here's King and Craze. A little bit less of an elimination tear that they're on this game, but nonetheless, they're one of the healthiest here coming off of a fresh refresh there. So very big material counts in their inventory. Meanwhile,
Going to be a clear.
very strong and healthy as well here. This time, not as desperate to
But
be
no,
down
no,
on
he's
the low
going to
ground
win
left
this.
for the mid layer. So we're probably going to be seeing a high ground fight here.
Just gotta be careful. I feel like
I think
Slavia's
be
stacked
about-
with teams that have the potential to go for that high ground is King and Craze. It's going. Looking towards the backside of zone, they have the benefit of the down. 900 above the damage threshold, but that's not a worry. They just have to wait for 3 players to go down. Pollo gets another elimination, kind of easing up on that pressure. On one side, we got Golden. On the other, we got Clicks and Rapid. I knew I didn't see Reed and Cooper no longer on the high ground as Clicks and Rapid are the team to overtake them, but they're below the damage threshold.
Yeah, just a couple players have to fall here, and they realistically are the only team there. They just need a little bit of damage, but no one's revealing themselves. So much metal and
But no,
just
no, he's going to
hugely
win.
fortified bases around them.
Clicks
They
still
can
alive,
afford to
I
open fire.
Clicks
Some
still
fresh builds
alive.
finally to get some damage there. Cost them a fair bit. Rapids really hurt on that rotate, actually. It's Peter Boncoyo who take the opportunity to go for high ground, and now
I think
it's his
Peterboy's going to
playground
win.
mess around with.
Peterboy or
Maybe they can
Clicks.
elevate themselves ever so
One of
higher.
the two.
This is a perfect spot for them now.
Just melted Zen flying through the sky. Pollo's the one that's going to get credit for that one. But like you said,
Maybe
kind of
Pollo.
reinforcing their position, building up higher so they
Maybe.
can kind of hear the warning of those shockwaves if any team looks to contest them. King and Craze probably have no plans for that being a possibility. They've just been dominating this low ground. Even without elimination, they're pushing team after team off of their layer, making sure they control as much of the tempo as possible, even bypassing Reed and Cooper, building above them so they have the double edits in case they try to continue that path.
I don't really see much in the way to stop King and Craze here. They've been playing so well. If you look at the rotates that they're putting out as well, there's no one giving them any resistance. But meanwhile, Higgs and Curve are the team on the low ground. There's always one. And for now, it's them right here. They seem to be running things up right now. 4 eliminations, plenty to work with as well as far as heals are concerned. Here comes the shockwaves from the outskirts. Really nicely done, but targeted from Peter Boncoyo up top. That mythic AR just shreds the moment he catches contact.
Yeah, nobody can kind of reveal themselves for too long before they risk going down. Clicks and Rapid. You see the struggles that they're going through. Clicks, not a lot of builds. They're trying to find elimination. They did get a knock. The King and Craze finally have their plan settled out. They're looking up, trying to chop him down, but they've drawn the attention of Peter Bot and Pollo. They know that the second height team, the threat that they need to watch out for. But there's still Veno, Agers, Higgs, Curve. You see them lurking in the backside of the zone as well.
Yeah, King and Craze probably looking to set up the shockwave. You see them crouched up, just again peeking through those cones, waiting for an opportunity. Anyone moving on the outsides, King's got that covered as well. They just seem to have their bases fully locked in right now. There comes some pressure from the team up top, but again, not enough to make them have to worry. The distraction's on though. Rapid now forced to put up a Clicks-like performance here by himself. Zifta, Sineto finding their activity here. That's actually onto Pollo. Okay, and now they hit him on high ground. So we already saw Pollo and Peterbot getting a little bit desperate. They were starting to run out of material, and it does start to come to life.
Peterboy's going to go eliminated.
Somebody's dropping down. It was him from above trying to get any of these
I know.
refreshes until he finally runs into King. And King cuts
I
in
know
short.
when he done that.
For this duo, but even King gets cut short. What is today, Monster? It seems like solo clutch performance after solo clutch performance. Even Veno having to leave Agers behind. He's healing up. Veno's building the path. This might be one of the stronger duos we have left alive in this game.
Yeah, definitely. And Veno's just playing so well. He just takes down each of those eliminations. We're seeing him continue
Maybe
to shine
Veno
here,
is
but
a
look at
win.
this. Craze, although he lost, King is still playing it out by himself right now. He's at 7 eliminations. Veno, Ager still going. Afonso falls here as well. And now they're working their way down, going through the motions here. A little bit of a refresh for Veno's going to set them up nice. Cooper and Rito from the high ground down to the depths here are forced to try to play this from the low ground.
Yeah, you can see 2 different med kits. You gotta wonder what the HP's like. Higgs, the only solo left in this game right now. 17 builds, but no chance to recover any HP outside of elimination. Veno, Agers push into a whole nother team, gets the full box. Damage is there, but they're able to slither their way on out the bottom of that box. Veno and Agers, though, just trying to go ahead and dominate this layer, pushing all these teams off. Right now, it's high ground that they have to worry about.
High ground, we haven't quite seen what their material counts are looking for. They get double chopped there, sharing the builds. Veno goes up, taking full advantage, but so does Zefta, and Veno with the boss monster shot. Agers with the backup as well. Each of them win their wins, but they get sent shot down. He comes back, and they manage to recover themselves there. We're about to see a 2v2 with Contrap in the mix.
It's just really telling where the Contrap goes up, gives an advantage to Reed Cooper, but he's working his way on down, trying to take the fight against them themselves. Veno and Age are still up above. He's figuring out a way to kind of go underneath the radar, not be noticed up until now, but eventuality will happen. The zone will close, and that's where he has to try to make a move. That's where Reed shuts him down. Veno and Agers drop down from above. They trade eliminations back and forth. Agers in a 1v1 against Cooper, and it's Reed and Cooper out of nowhere that steal away their limelight and advance to the grand finals.
Contrap came through, was just a distracting factor. The siphon keeps one alive while the other exchanges the shots. That's that little bit of unpredictability you never know that you're going to get with Fortnite there, Zeke, but what a game.
No big deal, MDF. No big deal. Just a global champion going ahead and say, hey, you know what, at major finals, I guess I'll go ahead and claim a spot going on over. Not a big deal. And of course, Kelly, I know you're excited because he paired up with Reed, and that's your favorite player.
Listen, I don't want to be biased, except I do. Reed and Cooper coming out on top, waiting for the final moments to engage that fight. They probably knew that Veno and Agers were up on height, and so they waited. They were patient in that final moments, Vivid, and that's really where it came down to AJ versus Cooper. And listen, we all know Agers is an incredible fighter, but global champion, man. You know he's never done enough.
I mean, Cooper just kind of running around on the low ground. I like the catchphrase there, just keep on shooting, man. It looked like he had so many targets to keep hitting, right? Had to go ahead and hit the knockdown body slam. He kind of got the siphon to kind of join the mixer to help him out just a little bit. And then he turns around a little 180 to go ahead and close things out. But game two, man, a little bit crazy. This one went actually all the way to this. We almost closed out the zone here, closed into the storm. And listen, over the course of the first two heats, man, these games were kind of ending early, but with two healthy duos left alive, they kind of pushed it all the way to the limits here. But it was a great battle between Veno and Agers and Cooper and Reed. But when everything was said and done, Cooper kind of turns around, hits the shot necessary, and you can kind of see those margins. He just had a sliver of HP to do it. Cooper clutches up.
My gosh, man, if you had told me this was like, if you just said, hey, Zeke, this is the finals lobby, I would 100% believe you, right? Like, this, yeah, there's so many things that happen. Again, shout out to Reed Cooper. They have made, they've secured themselves, rather, a spot on the battle bus going to next weekend's finals. Bummer we won't get to see more of them today, but there's still 3 games to go. So many more teams could clutch up a VR. So for now, a break. When we return, we break down more of the leaderboard and prepare ourselves for the halfway point. See you in a moment.
After this break, after this break, Game number 3. Oh